Otogi Myth of Demons is the sort of game that could easily slip under an Xbox owner's radar. While a lot of people are busy getting excited over games like Brute Force that, might turn out to be kind of underwhelming, there are games like Otogi that just kind of come out of nowhere and look fantastic, play great, and are really an example of what the Xbox is really ought to be all about. This is just a really outstanding game, and although the subject matter is going to limit its appeal to some extent, it's based on Japanese mythology and has a lot of weird characters and unusual names in it, that sort of thing. Really, if you have the remotest bit of interest in this sort of subject, then you should definitely take a look at this game. Throughout Otogi, you play as a man named Raiko, whose face never betrays any kind of emotion. His eyes are always closed. He looks as though he's dead, and in fact, that's because he is. He's been resurrected by this mysterious, enigmatic princess whom you never actually see and whom you just hear. And using her magical powers, she's brought Raiko back to the land of the living so that he could cleanse Japan of all its sins and evils, which take the form of various demons and such. So Raiko will get to trounce through more than 24 different levels, slaughtering these various demons, defeating bosses, destroying things, and basically ridding the world of all these sorts of bad infestations. This is a straight-up action game. Each level revolves around lots of swordplay, lots of jumping around and slashing things and breaking things and so forth. But the game has this really unique and really well-done atmosphere and almost kind of a Zen-like tone to it, where on the one hand you have these incredibly action-packed levels. Raiko is immensely strong, so his slashes will routinely send his enemies crashing through stone pillars and through entire houses and things like that. And then that's juxtaposed with the scenes of Raiko listening to the princess, these scenes where he's just standing completely shrouded in black and listening to this princess calmly talking to him. Even the enemies in the game are kind of philosophical and may express kind of resent and bitterness in their death throes and stuff like that. So the game has a really cool sense of style to it. It doesn't wear its style on its sleeve like some games. It's not saying, hey, look at me, I'm stylish, but it really is. It just has a really outstanding and remarkably well-done presentation. Raiko's got some pretty cool abilities. Not only is he incredibly strong, but he can pretty much fly around at will. When he slashes his weapons in midair, he starts to float down like a feather, and some of his moves can be used to propel himself upwards. So later in the game especially, you'll find yourself pretty much airborne almost the entire time, having these great big clashes with the other flying opponents. In addition to that, he has command over a number of different spells, and he can even deflect some enemy projectiles by slashing at them at just the right moment. The game's got some RPG elements to it as well. You gain experience levels as you defeat enemies, and you can even buy new equipment and new accessories and magic over the course of the game. There are quite a few different types of weapons. They range from kind of dual-wielded swords and huge kind of two-handed swords on over to giant war hammers and magical staves. And the core gameplay doesn't really change much. It's still all about Raiko slashing things, but the means by which he does so do in fact change. And actually the variety in the level design is pretty significant as well. Some of the stages do simply involve Raiko having to kill all the enemies in the level, but there are other much more interesting level types where Raiko might be racing from something or towards somewhere, or he might be trying to protect a certain target. So there's really a good bit of variety here. Otogi is one of those games that's made much, much better thanks to its really spectacular presentation. Everything about both the graphics and the audio is just first rate. The entire game has this kind of mystical, ethereal kind of look to it, uses a lot of soft colors and muted lighting. These sorts of effects really help establish the sort of ancient and magical kind of feel to the game that it's going for, and the enemies look quite good, and so does Raiko with his flowing black hair various weapons and incredibly powerful attacks and such. But really, the environments are the star of the game. Not only do they look just beautiful, really, when you're simply looking at them, but you can crush them all pretty much to shreds during the course of a mission. It's easy to destroy entire buildings with a single slash from one of Raiko's powerful weapons, and it's really satisfying to just send an enemy or multiple enemies flying every which way, smashing through stone pillars and vases and all kinds of things like that. So you really get a great sense of this main character's ability to cause destruction. The audio deserves equal commendation. The music in this game is just really, really incredible. It uses a lot of traditional Japanese flutes and string instruments and percussion, and just creates, again, just this very mystical and really mysterious kind of feel to the game. There's a lot of dissonance in the soundtrack that really works well for the game and just really helps establish the setting. Otogi is published by Sega, but it was developed by a company called From Software, which has been kind of the purveyor of quirky games for years now. Otogi is easily one of the company's best efforts to date, and by all means the best looking game the company has ever produced. It's just a great action game, no matter how you slice it, and if you have any interest at all in this style of subject matter in ancient Japan or in kind of mythology or anything like that, then you really need to give this game a try. Even regardless, if you simply like action games for your Xbox, which you probably do, then you should at the very least give it a look. It's going to be one of the most impressive looking and impressive sounding games that you've seen all year.